this is a common problem, and I know you're in South Carolina, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, and there's other people on the page. I didn't, so I'm not naming you. I'm just putting out broadly that you are a parent from South Carolina, because there are parents in this group that are from South Carolina that might be able to provide a little bit more insight. Um, but the rules or the law is the same everywhere. Okay. Number one is, well, let me go ahead and read this. Can an elementary school continually send a child home for behaviors that were never seen at the previous school or at home? I'm on the verge of being fired because the school calls every day for my son to be picked up due to unsafe behavior, such as running out of the classroom, knocking over desks, and asking to be put in time out. And I don't know if he's asking to be put in. I don't know what timeout is. That's such a loaded word now because schools abuse it so much. Um, what I end up finding out is they throw them in these rooms and the kid can't get out. Uh, so it's more of a punitive type of scary environment than it is a therapeutic, like timeout. I'm just trying to collect myself kind of thing. But look, the number one thing is that uh, South Carolina, just like most states, overwhelming number of states, has what's called compulsory education requirements, meaning that if you do not send your child to school, you get picked up for truancy. Okay, it goes the other way. The state government has made it state law that they have to educate your child for X number of hours per year. And if you are delivering your child to the school, then you have done, number one, your job in delivering your child to the school. Okay, so there is no compulsory education problem for you. Now, the second part is that the school has a requirement under state law to educate your child for X number of hours. So if they're sitting there early releasing your child, they shouldn't be early releasing your child. If they're claiming that your child has unsafe behaviors, well, they have two options: to call an IEP meeting and address those things properly and appropriately, which is where they should be addressed properly and appropriately. Or number two, they also institute what the disciplinary stuff, to where they start suspending your child, out of school suspension. Now, I don't recommend that, but it's either or. They don't just sit there and get to send your child home. They can't do that. It's a violation of state law because they're required to educate your child for X number of hours a year. Okay, you've delivered your child. Now it's their responsibility. So if they're saying, well, he's engaging in unsafe behaviors, that's why he has an IEP. So what are we doing about that? What features within the law are available to address behaviors? Well, you got a functional behavior assessment. They need to do one. Now, who's best suited to do a functional behavior assessment? That would be a licensed or board certified behavior analyst. A board certified behavior analyst, a BCBA. That would be the most appropriate, proper professional hat to conduct a functional behavior assessment, to understand why your child is, doing these things, like eloping from the classroom, okay, tossing over a desk. Those kind of things have a trigger, okay, which is an antecedent. What is going on right before your child engages in these behaviors that they say are unsafe? Now, a lot of it is likely going to be something like he's escaping from whatever demand. And so he understands, if I run out of the class or if I turn over a desk, they call mom, and then mom comes and gets me. So what ends up happening is the school is actually creating the very problem for which now you're at the risk of losing your job over, which is going to cause financial harm to your family. You don't have to go pick him up. And the other thing is, I highly suspect, just because we run into this problem in Alabama and other states that we have offices all the time, and that is, they want you to come pick him up, but they typically won't do the early release until the threshold time, whatever that time is, where they can declare that he's been there all day. let's say, I don't know, I'm going to throw something out. Let's say 11:30. That if he makes it to 11:30 and they call you, then they don't necessarily notate it that it was an early release because technically he was there all day, and so therefore they don't notate it. And so according to their records, it looks as though he was there all day. And then what ends up happening is if you end up losing your job or something happens to where, um, you know, because you have they're violating your rights and they're violating the rights of your child, but prove it. If there's no documented trail that they early released your child because they're playing the numbers, oh, well, we didn't release him, and we're allowed to sit there and declare it a full day attendance, then, where is your evidence or proof that these were all early releases? Now, I'm sure that they're calling your phone, but if you're picking it up instead of texting and they're telling you verbally, come get your child, and you say, well, you see here on this date, and I'm giving you all real world examples because, guys, I've been through this over and over and over again. And they'll lie. They will lie their asses off. Well, see, you called me on this day. Yeah, I just called to tell you that, everything was good. But no, you told me to come get my kid. No, we didn't do that. You see how that goes? So these people will lie. I don't think that I've been involved in a case yet where there's been transparency and honesty. Very rarely, because there are some good people out there. But by and large, most school employees will, out of fear, will back the play of whatever they're told to do. And that includes lying. That includes being deceptive. That includes manufacturing documentation, which is illegal technically. They'll trash documents to where you don't have it. And they will do that by direction because of fear, because they want to keep their job, because they don't want to be alienated. They don't really want to be retaliated against. And it's not their kid. It's unfortunate, but good people can do bad things and still go to sleep at night. Okay? Happens all the time. So in this particular situation, I would never pick him up unless they're willing to provide you documentation in hand that they asked you to come get him. And if they won't do it, then say, sorry, I can't do that. I can't help you violate state law. Under state law, you're required to educate my child. And I would absolutely call for an IEP meeting. And in that IEP meeting, I need a functional behavior assessment. You guys have been violating state law. You've caused me economic harm. I've had to come get him. I've been threatened to be fired. All of those things are potentially recoverable, you see, because they cause you damage by failing to provide your child with a free, appropriate public education. And that free, appropriate public education includes behavioral services. Aid support. Why didn't he have an aide? They could absolutely push an aide in to keep your child from eloping out of a classroom. So these are all the things that they should be doing in order for you to be on the receiving end of a good program. Okay, I just wouldn't allow them to do a thing unless you can absolutely solidify proof that they're doing this. Schools are real clever. This isn't their first rodeo in sending kids home. It's just that this is your first experience with it, and you don't have to tolerate it. Okay, so good luck with that. And like I said, hopefully other people from South Carolina have some resources, additional resources for you. But just apply with confidence. Okay, just apply what I told you with confidence. All right, and you'll find that everything will work out.